Welcome to the Free Agents Podcast. This is episode 1. You're here with myself, Michael. Goes by the name of Baz. I've got Jordan to my left. Also goes his own nickname, Rig, or as Will Smith would say, getting riggy with it. And then we've got in the studio, Daniel, also known as Chocolate City, or for our Spanish listeners and viewers out there, City de la Chocolate. First, I just want to get into a bit about us and what we're about and what we're trying to achieve. And then we're going to get stuck into a bit of meat and veg about the NBA. Jordan, do you want to go ahead, please?
Yeah, man, easy. So, Rig, as everyone knows, I'm a big NBA fan from pretty much, I'll be straight up, I'm a bandwagoner. 2007, I started following the NBA, and 2006 championship was obviously Miami Heat over the Dallas Mavericks. And I saw an opportunity to quickly get on the bandwagon of a winning team.
That was Shaq and Wade.
That was Shaq, Wade, Alonzo Mourning, my boy.
Chris Bosh.
Jason Capono, if anyone remembers that. Man, three-point shooter, just daggers. So I jumped
Was that
on...
the Ray Allen team as well?
No, man, years before. We're talking James Posey, like the glove. Gary Payton's playing for them.
That's a
Like,
long
Jason
time ago.
Williams.
man, he's like 50, but he's
Jason
playing for
Williams.
Jason Williams, White Chocolate's in there.
That's it.
And, you know, just for the boys out there, Chris Quinn. He looked a bit like an elf, but the man could play. Okay, so yeah, and I started following them 2007, and then, as everyone knows, rough couple years. We ended up losing the first overall pick, being Derrick Rose a few years later, and picking up Michael Beasley. I'll leave my comments about him. Had a few more rough years, and then obviously the big three came along, and everyone's just called me a bandwagoner since. Off the NBA, I am an avid basketball fan. I lead the league in ejections, including last Thursday, a classic 5 minutes in. But, you know, I got white line fever, and it is what it is. But that's a bit about me, man. You know, I like to think I can play, but we all know I'm just bully ball.
Yeah, and so about myself, you know, I started playing basketball 2007, 2008. Didn't really have a team, then all of a sudden the Seattle team moves to Oklahoma City. I'm like, you know, that's going to be my team. I'm going to start following them. Next minute, 3-21. And I was like, you know, I'm sticking with these guys. I like them.
You went through the fire. That's
Went
impressive.
through the fight. That's what I was all about. And I can't remember his name. He's going to kill me. The coach at the time, Chris, had the beard, glasses.
Oh, was it the PJ Calismo?
PJ Calismo, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was PJ Calismo. Man,
Garbage.
that guy was dirt the whole
Garbage.
time.
He ruined the Nets.
3-21. I'm pretty sure he was like Jeff Green, Nenad Kristic.
Oh,
Like
Nenad
it was just dirt. But I stuck with him, and you know, I'm very happy. I still play basketball with Rig actually, and you know, killed me on Thursday night. I had to play more minutes because of him.
Big boy teams.
Cheers.
Big boy teams.
And yeah.
How many minutes do you normally actually play, Baz?
Oh mate, depends.
Mate, if
Post COVID, not many.
Okay,
Pre-COVID, mate, I was on fire.
Can we hold on, let me go back a step. Baz, how many minutes do you actually run the court? Or do you just he just stands in the defense. He's like,
episode 1, we're getting personal.
Right. Pre-COVID, mate, I was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
mate.
man, the man's putting in. He's six man of
putting
the
it in.
year.
let me tell you, if anyone watches Baz,
big baby Baz.
if anyone watches Baz play basketball, that man can move, bro. That man can move.
If you put a beard on Big Baby, that is Baz through and through. Man, I'm a big fan. I need a sub. I just go straight to the big man, and then we don't miss a beat.
Yeah, nice.
And then Daniel or City de la Chocolate.
City de la Chocolate. I'm gonna establish it right now. I'd like to be known as Choc. If it goes to City de la Chocolate, all my Spanish fans, what's good, what's Gucci? Yeah, I think I've started following basketball since, God knows. I think what am I, 28 now? I think I started following when I was like 6 or 7. My old man was a big fan. And
Shit, you old.
I'm very old. I got grays in my beard already. My old man was a big Bulls fan, so obviously, you know, he loves the MJ, he loves the Pippen and all that. So I started following them, and then yeah, ever since then, I think my team at the moment though, my team for probably the last maybe 8 or 9 years has always been OKC. I really like the Supersonics. I was a big fan of Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, and all that. And then when they went and moved to Oklahoma City, a very big fan of Russell Westbrook. And then obviously we've gone and blown every championship opportunity that we had. So yeah, I'm not too happy about that, but whatever, it's all good.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Firstly, I'd like to say a quick thing. As an Australian, it is so hard to pick a team that isn't bandwagoning. Like, ain't nobody going to be like, yeah, I'm going to follow the team that came last when you start following.
That's what I did.
Okay, well, hang on. Firstly, I'm pretty sure you were like, Kevin Durant? Yeah, no worries. Let's go. Like,
Can we not bring up Kevin Durant? It still hurts me to this day.
Sorry. But I'm just saying, like, it's when everyone's like, oh, you're a Miami Heat fan. I'm like, well, man, come on. Like, you going to pick a loser? Ain't nobody want to pick a loser. Like, who wants to be a Wizards fan right now? Trash.
Yeah, no, I really don't want to be a Wizards fan. I mean, unless Rui has like a bomb season next year, like I don't really want to be a Wizards fan at all.
Rui reminds me of like the Japanese Tyler Hansbrough. Man was balling in college. I just don't see him hitting it in the NBA.
Is John Wall's contract ready?
I think he's got 1 year off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
you paid the man like almost $80-something million the last 2 years to slip in a shower. That's just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I'm going to do Rui some justice. Yeah, he's got a better jump shot than Tyler.
Oh, yeah,
Come
but
on.
he don't have the heart, bro. Tyler, will he jump in the stands? He ain't afraid.
Yeah, but it's only, mate.
Man was like 6'9" and like
Undersized.
white as hell, and he was getting 12 and 10. Like in the NBA. I mean, that's impressive. Rui can't do that. He probably is doing that, to be fair.
You can't say that. It's his first season. You got to see what
I know,
happens.
yeah, that's a good
all right. So, Orlando, the bubble. The NBA's returning as of the 30th of July. So we got, you know, a couple of teams coming back. People that are probably set to make the playoffs, and people that think they got an outside chance. Personally, I don't think they do. So, you know, in the East we got Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Miami, Indiana, Philly, Brooklyn Nets, and Orlando Magic. You know, Washington Wizards are at 9th.
Okay, Wizards should not have gotten an invite.
No.
Like that shit should have got lost in the mail. This is like, who are they going to be fielding out there? Dead set. Jordan McRae going to be starting and just jacking up threes. Ain't no way those blokes deserve to get an invite
They
to the
should
bubble.
call up Deshaun Stevenson, get him back in.
Oh, shit, boys, get to
And
Shawnee.
Javaris Quintenson.
Javaris got to get out of the pen, bro. He can't be playing from. He's in his own bubble right now, sadly.
Hey, free my man.
And then, you know, in the West, we've got Lakers, Clippers, Denver, Utah, Oklahoma City, Houston, Dallas, Memphis, Portland, Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans, Sacramento, Queens, and then San Antonio Spurs.
Sacramento Queens. You're a savage man, Baz. You're a savage man.
So, what do you think of the playoff format for the 8th seed? You know, who do you think? Because I think in the East, it's done.
The East is set.
Like it's set. Like
Nothing's
there's no doubt
changing.
about
You
it.
might see a little bit of movement. Like I'm tipping Philly to probably chase and catch Indiana, and they're going to flip, simply because I think Oladipo's probably going to sit out. I know there's rumors of him possibly now coming back, but I just still think that Philly, with the break and getting injuries cleared up, Embiid and Simmons will be coming in healthy. I just think they're going to jump them, personally. Outside of that, I don't really see much changing. Just with only 8 games to go, like Brooklyn and Orlando will be a nice battle. I see Orlando flying ahead of them simply because ain't nobody showing up for the Nets.
No.
Like they did, like they signed a Michael Beasley with COVID, and he's not coming in. So who do they go to after that? I don't even know. Probably someone from the G League.
Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, but they got Jamal Crawford. But they got, like, I'm looking at the depth, and I'm like, you have no one.
No.
You're leaning on 42-year-old man to take you to the playoffs.
And Spencer Dinwiddie.
Well, there's rumors that Spencer might not even come. I don't know. Is he confirmed in? I'm not sure. But yeah, like I don't see much changing on the East. Like realistically on the West, though, I don't want to say it, but the Zion hype has been made, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to push Memphis for that final spot. Because you got to remember, you only have to be, I think it's 5.5 games or 3.5 games to the 8th seed to then put them in a 2-game playoff.
I thought it was. I don't think it's 5.5. That's way too many.
5.5 is probably too much.
I think it's around 2 or 3.
2 or 3. So I'm looking at it now and I'm sitting there going like, New Orleans is not that far behind Memphis, and they play Memphis, so they can get those 2 games
They
back.
play Memphis twice.
So there's no doubt that I think they're gearing it up, or Silver's putting in. He's playing the puppet strings, trying to get New Orleans versus Memphis fighting for that last spot, that Morant Zion.
But I think personally though, everyone's like they want Zion in. They're doing this to get Zion. If they want to get Zion in guaranteed, they would have said best 16 teams in the NBA are playing in the playoffs, and they would just merge it together and get rid of the East.
Yeah, and I think that's coming in the next few years. I think this is just a way to build some serious hype around what otherwise people would be like, way of finishing the season.
So just to fact check, Rick, just to let you know, Spencer Dinwiddie did not travel with the Nets to the bubble. He is currently at home, and his quote was out of abundance of caution, so he's not traveling.
He ain't coming.
He ain't coming. And especially for the Nets. Like they do
not,
nothing.
mate, not when they're going to do nothing. Would you risk it? You're getting paid anyway. I ain't showing
exactly.
up. I'm still getting paid. But yeah, man, that's my take. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Portland drop off.
Why do you think Portland? To be honest, I actually think Portland have a better chance of making the 8th seed than the Pelicans.
See, we spoke about this a few months ago, I was on the road. I was like, Dame going to be dropping 50 a game. He going to be MVP of the bubble. But I'm sitting there going like, I don't know. Like, that is a good Pelicans team if they're popping. Lonzo's on fire. We all know Brandon Ingram is, if not second behind...
Most improved for the NBA this season.
Yeah, either that or Shea Gilgeous. But I'm sitting there going like, he's playing out of his skin. Zion's going to have some health. He might be a bit... he looks lean. He might be struggling in terms of like match fitness. But I just really don't see Portland beating them, considering their strength of schedule as well, is way harder than way harder than the Pelicans.
So speaking of Zion, obviously the big news that's come out this week, boys, as you would have all seen, Zion's exited the bubble to head back to home for as quoted, a urgent family medical matter. What do we think of the Pelicans' chances if Zion does not return in time for the restart? He's obviously going to have what, is it 14 days quarantine?
So what they've said is, if Zion gets tested every single day, if COVID tested every single day, when he comes back from the bubble, he will have to just quarantine for 4 days. So that obviously, comes down to when he returns.
Yeah, that brings
if
him
he does
very
return,
close.
because I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't return.
Yeah, I think that brings him super close. Even as it stands now, what are we? We are a bit more than 7 days, about 10 days, I think we are, away from, or a bit more, maybe 14 days
Yeah.
away from the start of the season. And I'm like, whatever he's got going on is not going to be sorted in the next 2 or 3 days, I don't think. So then you're looking at, he'll be coming to like 3-ish days before the first game. And he has to be, obviously, no positive test.
Well, he needs to return within 7 days in order to be able to play in order to return for the start of the actual season.
It's tight.
Very, very tight.
And to be honest, like, depending on what it is, if it's something really personal, he might just be like, look, I don't want to play basketball right now. I need to be with my family. And the Pelicans going to respect that decision. And, if, as a fan, I want to see him play. But if that's what he would choose to do, then I'm going to respect that.
Yeah, especially with what's going on in the world. Like, we
Yeah.
already saw, like, from an Aussie standpoint, Brockhoff just got that new contract. But unfortunately, he's had to pull out because his wife tested positive for COVID. So it's like, it's going to touch these guys very close to home. We've already seen multiple NBA players test positive themselves. So looking at that, I'm like, at this point in time, health is got to take precedence over basketball.
Sure.
But at the same time, I want to see Zion play.
Well, Gentry's hopeful that he's going to return for the opener versus the Jazz. So
How does that man have a job? Honestly.
But even if Zion plays, I don't think they're making the 8th seed.
Why? Why do you say that?
Like, look at their record. It's the same with Portland.
Yeah.
They've done virtually, they've been playing poorly.
Yeah, but the key is, man, what you're not getting is they're staging it so that he has every possible chance. They're playing Memphis twice.
Yeah.
They've only got to be, Choc, you have to fact check this for me, but I think they're only going to be 3.5 games or something away from the 8th seed to then get that 2-game playoff. There's no home court advantage. There's no fans. It's just straight up playing against the opposite man. And I'm sitting there going, after a big break and the way some of those young bloods are playing for the Pelicans, it's a lot better chance than it was if the normal season had gone ahead as it is.
So the percentage for the Blazers, 0.439. The percentage for the Pelicans, 0.438. So they are literally one win away from being tied with the Blazers.
Yeah.
And then how many games behind Memphis? Maybe
They-
around 4 or 5.
Confirming.
Yeah, so even if they're, as I said, I think they've only got to be 3.5 games or something close to it to get a chance to that 2-game matchup to get into the 8th seed. Doesn't matter if they get in, they're going to get walloped by the Lakers. But,
It'll be prime time TV.
man, people will tune in. I'll tune in just to watch LeBron just smack the crap out of Zion. Like, that should be funny. So,
Yeah. And look, I think if I'm the Lakers, the team I don't want to play is Portland.
yeah, 100%. I don't want to have a 7-game series against Mr. Clutch. Like, he'd be giving them the wave like a bye-bye.
Dame time.
Yeah, like I wouldn't play Portland. I also don't think they're a good matchup, especially with Rondo out injured. Like, that's a big shake-up. If you've got to have Dame against, who, J.R. Smith?
Caruso.
Yeah. Like, I'm picking Dame every time. That guy's going to be dropping 40 a game.
Yeah.
And they've got big boppers. They've got Hassan Whiteside against AD.
Yeah, and then they've got Nurkic returning, and they've got Zach Collins coming back. So
That's
it's
a long
interesting.
team.
That's why I honestly think Portland have got a better chance of the Pelicans.
But I think it's once they get in, they have a better chance than the Pelicans. But the Pelicans have the easiest strength of schedule.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
they play Memphis twice before then they have to play them again. I mean, realistically, that's what, outside of obviously whoever wins the whole thing, that's what I'm watching. I want to watch that bottom 3 of the West.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Okay, hang on. Why the hell is Phoenix been invited? like
They
surely
just- Phoenix
Send
have
them
been
back.
invited. Phoenix have been invited because they got a better record than the Wizards.
Yeah, you can't have the Wizards and then go, oh mate, Phoenix. No, you can't come even though you got a better record. I'm just sitting there going like, Devin Booker had a trip planned. Man, he should be with Kendall Jenner, like driving to the desert somewhere. Like, I know where I would rather be. Like, I'd be staying at home with Kendall. There's no way you'd be getting me to come to the bubble for no reason. That's just me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, They're not going to do anything. I think they're going to turn up and get, beaten.
Well, I don't
think they're going to win a game.
mate, to quote
Same with
Bleacher,
the Spurs, to be honest. I don't think the Spurs are going to win.
to quote Bleacher Report, mate, they're talking 0-8, and I'm like, shit, would you show up to go 0-8? I mean, unless you're like somebody who's trying to push for like another contract. But if I'm D-Book, I'm sitting there going like, what's the point? Honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, what are you trying, like, I don't get why the Phoenix Suns are there.
Yeah, I mean, like
they're going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Is Ayton able to play, or is he still banned?
Yeah,
is he injured?
they still got Ayton. They got Ayton, they got Booker, they got Rubio, and they got Kelly Oubre. But I'm sitting there going like, realistically, they're not a chance. So why would you risk the health of those players for next season? Because it's going to be a short season. Like, we're talking December start, and we're in July already.
But that December start hasn't been confirmed yet, though.
No, it hasn't been confirmed, so we don't know. But that's just like, it's too close. Unless there's monetary value in them coming, like, for the organization, I wouldn't show up.
Yeah, because who hasn't shown up for their teams due to health concerns? We got
pretty sure
Avery.
Rubio hasn't shown up as well, from what I'm seeing.
Don't blame the guy. I wouldn't either.
Well, and that's it. Like, so I got
Baines and Rubio apparently haven't shown up.
Well, yeah, that's it. Like, I'm sitting there going like, why would you? Like, I'm all for team and I'm putting everything out there. But if I'm that far behind in the standings, and my strength of schedule, I believe in the bubble for them is in the middle, but still better teams than they are currently, why would you show up just to lose 0-8 and spend 30, 40 days in the bubble?
Yeah, that's right. Like, I don't know. Like, it just confuses me. And, other players that haven't shown up or haven't made the decision not to go to Orlando. Avery Bradley for the Lakers.
Did Avery Bradley choose to go because of social justice issues, or did he choose to go because of health concerns?
It was health concerns. I think around his children.
Yeah, and I think, for example, with someone, and Choc, you might have to check this, someone's got a baby due coming up in the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, they're going to have to leave.
And they want to leave as well. And, like, obviously these things happen during the normal season, so that's not a surprise. But once you leave the bubble, you ain't coming back, in my opinion, realistically. Like, might get the big names back, like we spoke about earlier with Zion. But if my partner's having a child, and it's 10, 15 days into the bubble, is it really worth coming back?
Yeah, like, obviously it depends how many, wins you get.
Yeah, and what team
and
who
you're playing for, and who you're playing against, and do you believe that you're gonna make an impact to the team? Firstly, like, you're just gonna ride the bench and play 2 minutes a game when you're down by 20.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna be a game changer.
Or are you fighting for a contract, for your next contract and things like that?
Exactly.
But, like, the other thing, and this leads us probably to our next point, is the bubble itself. Like, this is a different world. Like, you're spending, and
it's like some school camp stuff.
It is. It's like 80 days staying in, like, a holiday camp, playing basketball that's of the highest quality and the highest importance in the world right now. Like, NBA championship is probably the pinnacle of basketball worldwide.
Yeah, for 100%.
And these blokes are playing at Disneyland. Or Disney World, I should say, in Orlando.
So I've been watching some of the vlogs that have come out of the bubble. So Matisse Thybulle and JaVale McGee, they've been posting vlogs. It's actually pretty interesting to see. So obviously they have to take tests. I think they have to take a test every day. They have to also take a test every morning. They've got to check their heart rate and the temperature as well. Yeah. And they've got to log it into this actual app that will then allow them to say, okay, cool, they've taken the test. They're showing no symptoms. They're good to go. They've got to obviously walk around with masks everywhere they go. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Speaking of the masks, somebody done called on Dwight Howard already. Get a snitch life. I put my money on D'Angelo Russell. The man has done it before.
D'Angelo Russell is not even there.
I know, but he's making the snitch
line. He's just stirring up controversy, rattling a few bird cages.
It's got to be him, man. He knows.
The old snitch hotline.
He knows everything. He's just getting it done. But, like, and that's the other thing. Like, you're talking about guys who, are celebrities and very wealthy people are now stuck in a hotel room for nothing. Like, not nothing to do, but a lot less than they could do at home.
Well, yeah, 100%. But also, you look at people like JaVale McGee. He's gone and actually started up his own Twitch streaming. So he's now streaming COD online on Twitch.
I don't blame him
because he's bored.
Firstly, that's a big ass chair. That man is 7'1". Imagine the chair that he's sitting on.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's a big boy.
That's custom shit.
But just going back on talking about obviously them living in the bubble there, some of the other things that I've seen is the quality of food is actually quite interesting. It's a big topic of conversation at the moment. Like, Matisse Thybulle put out a vlog of him eating breakfast and it had, like, home fries, and turkey sausage and boiled eggs and stuff like that. But some of the other stuff, some of the other players that are putting up vlogs, JaVale McGee, for example, is talking about, because obviously I think McGee is vegetarian or vegan, one of the two.
Probably.
And he's eating a cauliflower steak, and he's like saying people how disgusting it is, and it's all coming in box packages. So these boys obviously aren't eating good food.
Okay, but like you go, Baz.
Let me say this. To be honest, if I'm getting paid to play basketball, play video games, and I'm coming back to the hotel, and I'm like, oh, what's for dinner tonight? Oh, and it's at my house. I'm like, oh, I've got lobster. Like, oh, lobster, greens, with a side of mac and cheese. I'll be like, feed me. Then my second question is, where'd you get the money for that? Because how are you complaining about that?
Yeah, that's it. Like, and that's my next point was basically going to be clap to my man Adam Silver, because this is a logistical fucking nightmare.
It is crazy.
And this man has put it together in a month and a half. Like, we're talking most of the other sports around the world had stopped or having severely reduced, and they're not even battling what the USA is battling. And this man has put this together, obviously with the help of his team. But I'm sitting there going, like, let's be honest, the food is edible. And my assumption is that their nutritionists for the teams would be involved with what these guys are eating. I know Joel Embiid had a joke putting up his picture from when he was at the African camp, NBA Africa, when he was like 16, looking all skinny, and he's like, I'm going to end up looking like this post-bubble. There's no way they're going to let that man, 230-something pounds, maybe more, get skinny. They're going to be feeding him enough. I think it's just
He'll be eating 5 meals.
100%, man.
Delivered
Delivered to his door, like knocking on, waited at him like hand and foot. And I'm just sitting there going like, it's a joke. Like, these guys are obviously taking a piss, and I think people are just taking it a bit too seriously. Like, they're just making jokes about this.
Yeah, but the poor boys, they can't, or no, not really poor boys, but they can't go and order Postmates because, the snitch hotline.
Yeah, well, man, Rashawn, don't be crossing the line, man. Come on.
Like, it's not as if they're going, all right, you want this and this? No worries. We're going to drive to the closest Sizzler, pick it up, and then drop it back to you.
Give me that Chick-fil-A. But they are, though. Like, you saw Rashawn Holmes ordered Uber Eats or whatever it was, DoorDash, whatever the bloody company.
They go with this
Postmates. And you're sitting there going, like, they would have delivered it to him, but he was a numpty and walked across the line. Like, don't cross the line. Simple shit. And that's why the man is now quarantined or legal.
10 days.
It's just stupid. Honestly, stupid.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I just don't get it, but...
Well, to be honest, man, if you were feeding me while getting paid professionally to play basketball, sign me the hell up. Like, there's nothing else I'd rather do.
Nah. Rig, I think they're gonna run out of money trying to feed you, bro.
Oh, Chick-fil-A. Wendy's, mate. Give me that 5 for 5 from Wendy's.
What a lifestyle. Just play basketball, play video games. I guarantee you can go to, like, the common area and you just walk in, LeBron James, you want to play a game, Paul?
And that's it. And
have you seen the common area? They've got ping pong tables. They've got different video games. They've got 2K literally on tap.
Yeah.
They've got pool tables. They've got everything there. And I think obviously it's limited to the amount of people that can be in the room at any given time. But exactly that. You can walk in and say, yo, Dwight Howard, let me spank that ass in table tennis.
Let's be honest, it's like college all over again, and you see that in my boy Myers Leonard, the goat, getting the beer chug on, and then like Jordan Clarkson, like poor performance from Jordan Clarkson, by the way. And Myers Leonard, my boy, killed it. Like, these blokes are in like little blow up pools, kicking back, getting recovery on, chugging beers. Do they look too worried?
What a life.
Yeah, they don't seem too worried about it, so I can't complain. But I mean, like, how many players do we think moving forward are going to break rules, pull up for COVID, and then what happens if they do test for COVID while in the bubble? Do they just then get quarantined and leave the bubble, or a game's going to stop?
I think that'll come down to if they've played a game yet. And then they'll probably, because everyone's getting tested every single day. Yeah. So if one person pops up, then, there should be multiple. There shouldn't just be one person.
Yeah, so what happens to that team, though? Like, let's say you just get one player from the Pelicans.
I think they would have to quarantine their room for 10 days or they leave the bubble.
And these are the things about this that we don't know yet. And we won't know until games start happening, because you're going to have something at some point come up and there's going to have to be a decision made. And it could be someone like the Clippers. It could be someone like the Nets. And you're like, well, they're in the playoffs. What happens if someone tests positive from their team? Do you quarantine the whole team? What does that do to the schedule? How far does that set that back? Are their matchup? Do their matchup just go through?
And I think that's why right now they're obviously making sure that the players adopt good habits, making sure that they are getting tested every single day. They are making sure they're wearing masks. They're doing all these things
Except
there
for Sean.
because,
Stay
except
inside for Sean.
But you got to set the standard right now because as you move into, the big chunk of the season where there's going to be the playoffs and where it's going to be, these games are riding on the line, you want to make sure that, no one has the opportunity to go and, I'm going to go do this and then accidentally test positive because you do that, you throw the whole schedule out of whack. The entire team has to go into quarantine and probably any team that's trained with them or that's trained near them, any team that's played against them all has to go into quarantine.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. And I actually think what will play a part in it as well is who the player is.
How valuable and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's someone from the Spurs, they'll be like, okay, no worries, you can't play anymore. You're done. But if it's someone like a big part of like the Clippers, the Lakers, the Bucks.
What if Kawhi gets it or like Paul George?
Yeah, like that's where it gets very interesting.
For
if you've got someone that's competing and most likely gonna go the distance or go quite far in the playoffs, like the Clippers, Lakers, Bucks, so forth. It'd be interesting to see the impact on what happens with the player itself and then the team and then who they've played against.
Yeah.
But
as I said, we won't know until we see it. But
Yeah.
just there's the one thing I next want to talk about is basically like the new signings for the teams. Like I'm looking here and I saw one of my absolute college fan favorites. Don't think he's NBA quality. Jared Utoff, the most arrogant, just knock down, let it fly guy. I believe played for Iowa when he was in the NCAA. And the man is a bucket, a walking bucket. But he's not NBA quality. But he's playing for the Wizards. Like he's been signed by the Wizards as of Friday. And I'm like, okay, we got him, then Justin Anderson, and he's playing for the Nets. He's garbage. Like, let's be frank. The guy's not NBA quality. Lance Thomas, when was the last time he was even in the league?
My boy
like,
Joakim Noah's back.
shooting guard Lance Thomas.
Yeah.
Didn't you last play for the Knicks?
Probably. They're garbage, so he doesn't deserve to be there. I'm like, Dante Hall. I've actually never heard of him. So he's playing for the Nets. Jamal Crawford, obviously everyone knows Jamal Crawford, the greatest six man to ever play the game. But I'm sitting there going, there's a lot of, not no names, but a lot of guys who are fringe NBA players who are stepping up to play for these NBA teams like the Nets.
And this is probably guys that actually want to play and want to be there because they'll be playing to get a contract.
Yeah, they're playing for the livelihoods.
They're playing for the livelihoods. They're playing to get a contract, get a secured deal for next season. They're not just turning up to ride it out and lose 8 games. They're going to want to ball.
That's it. And that's why I feel so bad for Michael Beasley because I'm like, this could have been, he would be getting big minutes for the Nets.
Yeah,
like, he
for sure.
possibly
He probably would start.
He would have started. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, hey, I'm devastated for that because obviously he's not going to get that chance. But I just want a quick one. Big signing in my opinion. I love this guy, Luke Mbamute. The man is lanky as hell, and he's now playing for the Rockets, and they have no size. I think they're starting PJ Tucker at 6'.
Center.
Yes, they
What
are.
is he?
Yeah.
6'7"?
6'7", yeah.
Something like that.
Depends if he's got all of his shoes on. Then he's 7'1".
Apparently he brought like 300 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Like something ridiculous, one for every day. But I'm like, that's some more length they didn't have before. Like, and then they cut. Who'd they cut?
PJ Tucker?
He's just a defensive guy though.
PJ Tucker is 6'5".
Even that, 6'5".
And Rick, how tall are you?
I mean, I'm 6'3", so I should be playing center for the Rockets.
Exactly.
Put me in, coach.
But Mbama, like they're not asking him to score and he's never been able to do that throughout his whole career when he played for the Bucks.
No.
But he brings size. And he's not a bad defensive player.
He
So it'd be
brings
interesting to see the
length.
role that he plays and he's got length obviously. But it'd be interesting to see the role that he plays on that team and how often he plays.
Yeah.
So
I suppose, like, okay, so my question to you is, like, who do you think is the biggest recent signing or, like, post-COVID signing that's going to make an impact?
Joakim Noah.
Yoki!
I don't think Joakim Noah's going to do much.
He won't do
I
anything.
think-
I just wanted to drop
He's
that
just
in
going to
there.
do that stupid, like, flick. He's like half
that
Sean
flick-
Marion.
that
Reed,
flick,
like-
bro.
He is like what is it? He's a shell of a man since he was, what was he? He was 4th MVP voted at one point.
Yeah, he had a defensive player of the year. I believe,
Yeah,
at
he's
one
a
point,
shell of
Yeah,
a
for
man.
the Bulls.
Yeah,
In
when he
comparison
played
to
for
that.
mate, that Taj.
But-
Yeah, and then what happened? He goes to the Knicks.
The Clips only picked him up for a 10-day contract really right before the league locked down. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think he signed for the Clippers for the bubble.
He signed for the
That's right.
Clippers for the
Yeah,
Bulls.
and
Is
the
it
Clippers.
And I'm
like
sitting there
4
going,
days,
like,
4 or 5 days ago.
With Montrezl Harrell not coming or not currently in the bubble, do we start Joakim at center?
I think it'd be Zubac.
I love Zubac. When the Lakers got rid of him, I was like,
I know.
that's a 20-year-old. He's now 21, 22. That's a 20-year-old that has some serious potential at like 7'1" or whatever ridiculous size of a human he is. And I'm like, I thought that was not a bad decision in the sense that what they got back, obviously with AD, eventually. But I'm like, oh, that kid had some serious talent.
Yeah. I mean, he played for the Lakers. He played well. And I think in seasons to come, he'll actually play a role for every team. Like he'll go out there, get your rebounds, block a couple of shots, and maybe get you like 3 or 4 baskets.
He's your rim runner. That's like simple as that. He's just hustling back and forth between that rim channel. He's looking for them dunks. He's looking for them hard offensive rebounds, and he's going to get 10 boards a game purely from just being a giant.
Yeah, that's right. But going back to your question, I think J.R. Smith will probably have the biggest impact.
The Henny King.
That's it. The Henny King. But he's going to have the biggest impact, replacing Avery Bradley.
Yeah, and Avery Bradley was playing a huge role for the Lakers. Like, he was, in my opinion, their best defensive player.
100%.
I should say best defensive guard, because obviously AD, in my opinion, is defensive player of the year this year.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly right. Like Avery Bradley, I thought he had a pretty big role at the Lakers. He's made a decision not to go to Orlando, which is fine. They've signed J.R. Smith, and as we all know, has quite a lot of chemistry with LeBron James. Yeah. Played multiple finals.
The first thing that just came.
Do we want to talk about the final?
Not to cut you off. The first thing that came to my mind is that LeBron
he's pointing,
and I'm just like
pointing the direction.
Anyone who's ever played basketball knows you come out with like a few seconds left on the clock. You know what time it is. Like JR, just make a layup. LeBron's legacy would have been so much different.
I don't think he's getting a layup. But shoot it up.
He's getting the ball dead set underneath the basket.
But also as well,
lay that shit up.
Like, in all fairness, I mean, yeah, obviously he's an idiot. He should have actually gone for the shot. But Tyronn Lue had a timeout. He could have just caught it back. No, time. Nothing.
Yeah, but sometimes it's better to run just to let the boys play and just not take a timeout.
You got a board under the basket. Lay that shit up.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you just go right back up with it. You ain't wasting clock. Just get the fuck back
By
up.
the time you call a timeout, you probably got 1.3 seconds left.
You're not getting a shot up.
You're just going to lob it.
You're not getting a shot up from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I mean, for me, I would have said J.R. Smith, but same team. I'm going same team. I'm going to Lakers. I'm going Dion Waiters. Like
Waiters Island.
As a Heat fan, Waiters both frustrated me and got me super excited.
Yeah.
The man is a walking bucket when he wants. But similar to J.R. Smith, he just does some dumbass things. And I'm like, come on, man. Like,
come on, man.
Dead set, that's it. And I'm like, he could be fantastic for them, similar to J.R. Smith.
But they signed him
They signed him like
pre-bubble.
They like signed him
March 6, 2020.
Yeah. So they signed him ages ago. So he'd been working with the team, I assume, for quite a while now. So, but he can knock down. And we've all seen the way LeBron moves that ball. You just got to be hands up, ready to go, and you can get buckets.
I think for Waiters to be a success in the Lakers, he needs to know his role.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be running. He's not going to be having his plays where he's just isolating him one-on-one. He's going to be in the corner, run enough screens, getting the ball jacking up for a 3-point shot.
Yeah, has to be. If he starts doing what he usually does, where he like dribbles out the bloody shot clock and then he's just jacking up this step back fadeaway 3, LeBron's going to trade this bloke. Trade this bloke.
He's done.
Trade him out of the bubble.
The GM's going to say, listen, get him going.
LeBron going to have that syringe of COVID ready to drop on anyone that he ain't liking.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just that it is. We all know the GM playing the puppet strings, the puppet master.
So something that I just want to talk about now that we're talking about the Lakers, thoughts on their opportunities at the moment, their title aspirations at the moment. Obviously, they're leading the league. Do you think that going into the COVID bubble, do you think that going into the last 8 games of the regular season, that they're actually going to, put up big numbers and they're gonna really solidify themselves as the number 1 big dogs?
Well, like
I think they're the team to beat.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about Lakers post-COVID is that LeBron meme when he's just got that face sitting in there and he's like, it's my time. Yeah. When they came back from 3-1 down, he's got that look like it's over before it's even begun. You're talking about like early in the season, I was like, man, these Clippers can play.
Yeah, 100%.
But
it was like that. It was like that, actually.
I was like Bucks have always been able to play, but obviously they're coming out of the East. So anyone that's coming out of the East is obviously a lot easier than coming out of the West. But I'm looking at LeBron and I'm like, man, bit of gray in his beard. He's letting it go. He's letting the hair go. He don't give a fuck about anything but balling right now.
Yeah.
The only concern that I have is if he doesn't get enough game time. If he starts playing less than 36 minutes a game, the Lakers really got to like bust their ass to try and make up for that.
But I think it's all going to come down to how AD plays.
Yeah, he's the linchpin of the team. Like,
Yeah.
it's LeBron's team, but AD is by far the key to them winning it all.
100%.
But what I'm saying is, like, you're talking about a rested LeBron
Yeah, and AD.
and AD coming into a different scenario that really helps them because they're already established connection with, in my opinion, the best raw talent outside of Giannis still left in the bubble. So I'm sitting there going, like, outside of the Bucks, I don't think anyone beats the Lakers
In a 7-game series.
in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
And then that's if the Bucks even get there. Because, like, they're a talented team, but how much, like, they can get caught out by the Raptors. Like, the Raptors have an all-round team with the same length.
People are sleeping on the Raptors.
Yeah, same.
Just quietly.
Yeah, mate, truth. It's like they got the same length. My boy Spicy P is playing out of his skin. If he didn't have such a good season last year, he would be, I don't know, you can't even call him most improved. But
I think he's jumped from 17 points or 16.9, I'm pretty sure. He's now averaging 24.3.
yeah, he's now, in my opinion, a star. Like, he's
Yeah.
He's a star.
He'll be an all-star for going
Yeah,
forward.
perennial all-star coming up. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
The man can play. So I'm sitting there going, like, the Toronto Raptors could do the Bucks in. Because you got to remember as well, the Bucks rely heavily on that shooting, that outside shooting. Giannis drives, kick, bang. I'm sitting there going, they got the length, the athleticism to keep up with the Bucks. So if you get Giannis stepping out and having to shoot the ball constantly, yes, his jumper's got a lot better than it used to be, but it's still not dead eye.
Yeah.
So
How do you think the intensity of the game is going to be played with obviously no fans? It's just going to be all media.
yeah, well, like, I think what you forget is for a lot of look, this is just my assumption. Obviously, I've never played professionally, but my assumption is that the fans are huge when you're going on a run,
Yeah.
but they're professionals. They've been doing this both with people in the arena and no one in the arena for years of their life. That's how they got as good as they were. For people like LeBron and guys like and Giannis, I don't think it matters if there's 10 people or 10,000.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of chat.
Oh,
it's
I'm
gonna
hoping
be
I
going,
am hoping those mics are closed. I want to
Yeah.
hear the garbage. I want to hear that trash talk. To be fair, I was like praying that Rondo was going to say something. So now he's going to have to say it from the deep bench. But I was like, there is going to be some serious crap.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be hot mics everywhere.
But you know what I think it's going to be like? Like, you guys have seen all the preseason scrimmages that they have, like, you know, the pickup games where it's like 5-on-5. It's like LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, all of them. They just play pickup games. It'll be like that. They will just shit talk each other just
Yeah.
because it's funny.
That Plus Fitness, like, roll up to the local YMCA. And you can see them. Like, they're not even playing serious and they're still letting everyone know. Like, James Harden, in my opinion, is the sleeper shit talker of the NBA. Now we're going to actually hear it. Like, he'd love to let you know about it.
Yeah. Same
So-
with Chris Paul as well.
Oh, man, Chris Paul calling people about it not having their jersey tucked in. So Lord knows the man is a sneaky little prick.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be saying some things. So I think that's like, for me, they're not going to miss a beat. Simple as that. Like, I don't think
it'd
they're
be the same. I
professionals.
think the level of play would definitely be the same. And I actually think the intensity will be a little bit higher than what it usually is because they know it's no one else. Obviously, the media's there, but no fans are going to be able to watch or, you know, get that secret recorder on and pick up things that they think that's not going to be there.
Yeah, that's it. And the momentum swings will be mental for the players themselves. There's going to be no, like, huge crowd noise. You ain't going to see the mascot running across on a timeout doing a backflip, like shooting cannons of T-shirts out. That ain't going to be happening. So,
No one's taking half-court shots for 10 grand.
yeah, that's it. LeBron ain't tackling some random bloke at half court who just hit 10K half court shot.
Yeah.
So you sit there and you go, like, there'll be an intensity and it'll be so much different to what we're used to seeing. But that gets me excited.
I think it's going to be a very, very serious. Like, it's going to be very no jokes, no bullshit. It's just going to be straight up. We need to win. We're going to do everything that we can to win, and this is going to be very, very serious like play.
Well, and I think what other guys are neglecting, yes, it's a compressed sort of like season, but I'm sitting there going, like, instead of getting on a flight at 3 a.m. and going from LA to Utah,
You're going straight back to your
you're
hotel.
going 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
And as LeBron put that hyperbaric chamber post up where he's got the gas mask on and he's getting ready to oxygen, and I'm sitting there going, like, he will be far more rested than ever
100%.
before. And on top of that,
And any other player will be far.
yeah,
rested.
everyone will be super rested. So I'm sitting there going, like, it's gonna be a quality output of talent on that court. And then on top of that, like, my final point in terms of the Lakers moving forward is LeBron's gonna have a chance to rest. Like, I'm pretty sure, I'm just like looking at it now, aren't they like 4 or 5 games ahead of the Clippers?
Yeah.
And the Clippers are not walking wounded, but they're missing Montrezl Harrell. They haven't really clicked the last few months pre-COVID. They weren't looking too crash hot leading into the bubble. So I'm sitting there going, LeBron, 8 games left. He doesn't need to play all 8. I'd be surprised if he plays more than 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll play every game just to get a rhythm back and get how it's like to play against other teams instead of playing against obviously the backups for your own team. So I think he'll play a majority of the games, regardless if they're locked for the first seed or second seed. To be honest, I don't even think home court advantage really matters
No.
in the bubble.
Well, there is none. Like,
yeah, like you just literally you both go out, go to the locker room, change, get out your jerseys, and go back to the hotel.
I don't even know if they're going to have, like, what's going to be on the court? Is it just going to be an NBA logo?
So there has been 5 teams that have donated their courts. So I think the Lakers, I'm pretty sure the Raptors,
Heat.
The Heat.
Yeah,
those are like 3 of the 5 that have donated their courts. So they will be able to play on courts.
I think the other team is Magic as well.
Yeah, so those teams will play on the courts that have their logo on it. The other teams, I believe, they just play on a generic court that will have obviously the NBA sponsors on there.
Yeah, and hopefully there's like a Mickey Mouse logo in the middle where it's tip-off time.
There's got to be some sort of Disney reference. Like, I want to hear that theme song, like, coming in over the loudspeaker before they play it.
Like that goofy sound.
You're going to get LeBron's going to come up to the screen right before the game and be like, you're watching Disney Channel, and go and draw the ears on the screen.
Yeah, that's it. Remember that Disney
Channel
stuff?
And chalk over the top of them, we're done.
I want some of that Hannah Montana shit, mate. But I'm looking at, like, this schedule here, and I'm seeing they're going scrimmage against the Wizard. You know LeBron ain't playing that shit. Then they're playing...
Why, is that the first game?
That's the first... They're playing a scrimmage against the Wizards.
Yeah, so warm-up.
Warm-up. It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
July 31st here, they're playing the Clippers first off. I think LeBron will play a lot of minutes in that just to sort of set the tone. But then the next game's against the Raptors, and I don't think he'll play a lot in that because I'm like, it's not a Western team. He's not going to come up against them until the finals. And that's
if they make the finals.
And that's a hard game.
Yeah.
Then they got the Utah Jazz. Again, I think they're going to play. He's going to play for that. Then they're playing OKC. I don't see him playing that game. Then they're playing the Rockets. I don't see him playing that game. Pacers, again, I struggle to see him play that game. And then I think he'll play their final game against, their next game against the Nuggets, and then he'll rest before the season starts because then the final game's against Sacramento. So
before the playoffs start.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think you'll see him. He'll reduce his minutes like drastically again, just to make sure that he can still get out there, get fit. Get the feel back of of the pace of the game. But you're right, Rick. He's probably gonna rest until probably close to the playoffs.
I think just quickly. I think he either plays 30 minutes or he plays 0.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think he's coming on for 10 minutes. Like, what's the point? What's the risk?
100%. There's no way you'd be putting... Because, like, as an athlete, why would you be playing a half game when you can just rest? You can play one game for full whack, 36 minutes, give or take, and then you can take the next day off. And, the old load management, the word that everyone loves to use in the NBA, load management. Like, let's be honest, just say the bloke's having a day off. Like, we all need a day off. Like,
and they're playing back-to-back, aren't they? They're playing night after night, I think.
It looks like they're moving quick, man. Like, I'm looking... The Lakers have about a day and a half or 2 days, give or take, between each game. Yeah, like it's every second day they're playing. So firstly, again, shout out to my boy Adam Silver, putting together a quality bubble.
We appreciate you.
Well, that wraps up the first episode of the Free Agents podcast. I'd firstly like to thank you all for listening, and I'd like to thank my co-hosts Choc and Baz for the input this week.
Bro.
Next week, we're going to talk about the pretenders and the contenders, the bubble and how the COVID affects it. And we're also going to talk about the matchups for the first scrimmages and upcoming games. Can't wait to see you all then. Speak soon.